Welcome to the Connors and Ferris High School Sports Show. Jeff, DiVeronica and Steve Bradley here with the Fairport Red Raiders, the top seed in Class AA in the Section 5 tournament, which gets underway this week. And I did some research, Steve Bradley, and if I had to name over the past 2 decades the top 3 softball programs among large schools in the area, I would probably say Fairport, Victor, and Webster Schrader. I got an eyebrow raised real quick.
Oh, what about Brockport?
No. Let's go.
They got a good tradition. We'll Coach Johnson was part of it. You said over the last few decades.
I'll go with Steve. You said the last couple decades. I'm thinking I was maybe part of that.
No, I get the final say here. Sorry, it's my
Okay.
You're outvoted, buddy.
It was my mind. It was my research. I'm going with top 3. I'm going with those 3. So anyway, I would say Fairport is certainly in there. But I went and did my research, and I was surprised that Fairport actually hasn't won a Section 5 title since 2013. So let's welcome on the Red Raiders onto our specialties hotline. First up is the coach in his 5th season, but really the 4th as a playing team. Curt Johnson joins us. Also, he's a history at Brockport and Greece Olympia. Also joining us 2 senior captains, and they're doing it on the day of their senior ball, so we appreciate that. Juliana Haas and Morgan Kennedy. Thank you, ladies, for joining us. Coach, let's start with you. 15-5 and a team that I know has flown under the radar. You're the top seed. You're no longer under the radar when you're the top seed. But what do you like about this group? And I know you got contenders and some familiar names. We'll talk about them. But what do you like about this group, Curt?
This group this year, we have experience in the circle. All my other years, when we actually played, I had a senior pitcher graduate. So finally, I have 2 girls coming back from last year. Actually, they would be a 3rd year on varsity, but like you said, our COVID year didn't happen. So that's our strength, certainly our pitching. We have, I believe, the best outfield in the county. 3 girls that can go get the ball, good arms in the outfield, and we do practice with our outfielders quite a bit. So I try to make them as strong as possible. Obviously, my daughter played outfield at Syracuse, so I'm a big believer in outfield play. And then we're pretty young on the infield as far as the experience is concerned. Morgan is a 4-year varsity starter. Her first 3 years were at second base. We moved her to shortstop. And then 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, we're a little bit inexperienced. Behind the dish is Joanna Haas. She is a 3-year varsity player. This is her 1st year starting, though she did get a lot of playing time last year. So there's experience there. We hit. We play sound defense, but again, it's our pitching that has been pretty much carrying us this year.
Juliana, Coach mentioned you're the catcher. In my mind, you've got the best view of the field. Everything's in front of you. And he mentioned your 2 pitchers. We've got Amanda Lindenbrink and Cecilia Byrne, and how that they've kind of split the innings and the stability they brought to you this season. From behind the dish, what is your take on the pitchers and how have they done and what's worked for them?
They're definitely 2 different pitchers. I mean, Amanda's more of like the fast stuff. Cecilia's got more of the off speed. They're both very consistent, and they do most of the work for me. I just sit there and catch the ball, but they make it look good.
Hang on, I'm muted. Morgan, let me ask you about being the shortstop. And you talk about strength up the middle. You've been there as part of the middle of the infield for a while. What's it take to be a good shortstop for Fairport, the Fairport Red Raiders? What do you need to do to be good?
You have to have a lot of skills, and it takes a lot of time. I've been working on it since I was like 10 years old. It's taken a lot of time and strength to get used to. So I would say the speed and the skills is what it takes for the middle infield.
Coach, a little follow-up with you. Tell me, break these down, these 2 players here as softball players and leaders. Tell me about them if you were scouting them.
If I was scouting them as far as hitting and defense, Morgan, I've known Morgan for a long time, and she said probably she's been doing this for 10 years, and I probably have known her for those 10 years. She's played on my travel team, and she does go out and get extra help. She works hard at her craft. She is our top hitter this year. She's always been a good hitter. Even as a freshman, she came in and she was able to hit. Juliana Haas is one of the toughest kids I know. She's caught pretty much most of the innings this year. And as you know, as a catcher, she takes a lot of bumps and bruises, doesn't want to come out of the game. So she's tough. She's learned a lot. And for both of them, we do a lot of stuff defensively. If you ever see today's softball players, they have wristbands. We have a wristband with a card that on the wristbands, we have 3 cards, one for pitching, one for hitting, and one for all the defenses we incorporate throughout the year. So we take our defensive drills, our defensive system seriously. And each kid is required to know the defense, what play we're doing, if there's a certain play we want to put on, their backup situations, and so on. So we have 9 girls all on the same page. I don't need 7 girls on the same page and 2 who are not on the same page. Because again, backing up is as important as, making the play. So these girls, and it's hard. It's not easy. So Morgan may have to go to her left on one pitch. On the next pitch, she may have to now go to third and cover third. So, we require them to learn it and understand it. And it's not easy. And this is why I think I've always kept 18 players. So I would like to bring them up maybe when they're not going to be a starter, we'll say, per se. But they're going to learn from a senior or a junior girl ahead of her. And they're supposed to teach them the system. And so when it's their turn to start, the younger kid, it's just, seamless. So I think it's more of the knowledge. Obviously, the skills are there, but then we're asking them to understand the system.
Morgan, what has the move from second to short been like for you, just given the coach outlined all the responsibilities? Has it been as much a mental challenge, a physical challenge, or a little bit of both?
Well, for the physical part of it, it's a further throw. So it is a little harder, but that's easy to get used to. But then as far as mentally, you have to understand what you're doing for each play. And well, coach goes by colors and they're completely opposite directions for short and second base. So it gets a little longer to get used to.
Wow. Sounds like there's gonna be a lot of studying if you're a Fairport Red Raider softball player, right?
Yeah.
And you got a wristband like a quarterback. Juliana, as the catcher, again, Steve said you get the whole field. You're batting 365. Morgan's hitting 379. Each of you about 14, 15 RBIs. Juliana, I guess as the leader, one of the leaders on the field, are you a vocal catcher? Do you lead by example? Or do you think you need to be vocal to be a good catcher?
I think you definitely need to be vocal, keep the team and the infield all in it. It's definitely, especially with your pitcher, if she's down, you try to keep her up, talk to her, maybe call time and go talk to her a little bit. I think I do a pretty good job being vocal, but you gotta be pretty loud for everyone to hear you all the way back there.
Do you have to be like a bit of a psychologist as a catcher with your pitchers to know when you should talk and when you shouldn't talk and what you should say?
Yeah, I think so. I think there's a time for them to try to figure it out on their own and then a time to help them get there just a little bit.
We're talking Fairport Red Raiders softball. Here's Steve Bradley. Let's take a quick break, come back. We got a big announcement on the other side. You're watching the Connors and Ferris High School Sports Show on Rock Sports Now.
Looking for a used truck? Can you find one out of 350? At BobJohnsonAutoGroup.com, you'll find one. Love SUVs? 800 are waiting for you to take one home at BobJohnsonAutoGroup.com. Add 350 pre-owned sedans, and you've got a total of 1,500 used vehicles only at BobJohnsonAutoGroup.com.
Bob Johnson's got your ride. Bob Johnson.
While we celebrate 140 years of serving our community, the kind of delicious joy that lasts a lifetime, we look forward to serving you for 140 more. With hardworking, wholehearted, passionate people who will help shape new memories for generations to come.
When it comes to workers' comp, things can change quickly.
The only way to make sure your rights are protected is to have a trusted, committed attorney on your side.
An attorney who has devoted their career to helping injured workers.
Someone to fight for the money and medical benefits you deserve.
The only person on your side
is the attorney at your side.
Connors and Ferris, your workers' comp attorneys.
The best three things here at McQuaid are definitely the sports, the brotherhood, and the service to community. I think that's a really big, important thing that McQuaid stresses, which is part of creating a better and great man. You definitely feel a connection with your fellow students here. It's being all guy school. You're able to relate to each other on a personal level, and everyone's very welcoming here with open arms and willing to be your friend.
Local McDonald's operators care about our local schools, teams, and student athletes. That's why they support the return of high school athletics in the Rochester area and around the state. See you before or after the big game at McDonald's. Welcome back, Section 5. Game on!
In these challenging times, our dedicated team at American Custom continues to provide top quality installations to every customer. With guidelines and restrictions changing daily, we apply attention to every detail. You can trust our team to make sure the job is done right.
Welcome back to the Connors and Ferris High School Sports Show. Jeff DiVeronica and Steve Bradley. This is going to be our U.S. Army segment, brought to you by, of course, the U.S. Army every week. Look at all those numbers on the screen of the local recruiters. The Army could be possibly part of your story in the future. It can help pay for your college education. And they're offering a lot of financial incentives now to join the Army because they know they're competitive for young people, just like all the other employers out there. So please give our local recruiters a call and tell them you heard about it right here on the Connors and Ferris High School Sports Show. We are talking some Fairport Red Raiders softball. They are the top seed in Class AA. And with us, we lost Morgan Kennedy, our shortstop. She had to go a special appointment. It's the day of the senior ball as we record this. Juliana Haas, the catcher for the Red Raiders. We appreciate you being with us. Coach Curt Johnson's with us, and he is our coach of the week, our GG Fitness coach of the week. He is 61-20 in his career here with Fairport, 4 seasons, 8 years with Brockport as the coach there, 3 Section 5 titles, and 3 seasons also with Greece Olympia. He certainly has been a dedicated servant to local players, the high school level. And Curt, I don't know this, but I'm going to guess, do you do some coaching in the club level too?
Oh yeah, I've been doing 20 years with the travel programs. I did. That's why I took time off from the high school, probably 2007, because my kids were starting to play. They were getting old enough to start playing, and I obviously was not going to miss them. Miss their games and miss them playing. So I probably took 10, 11 years off. And then some parents from Fairport knew Amy was retiring, Amy Carr. So they asked me if I was interested, and I've been interested in coming back to high school, but the time had to be right. And certainly the time was right to come back. And obviously I know what Amy did there. It's a great program. So I'm not intimidated by taking over a great program. So yeah, I said yes, and it's been great.
It was 7 titles in 17 years for Amy. So that was a pretty high bar. And certainly, like I said, Fairport, a perennial contender for sure. Steve Bradley?
And Jeff, one thing, Fairport's got a big capital improvement project going on this year. So the softball team, next year they'll have a nice turf field, but this year they've been on the road, 6 different practice sites. Every game has been away from the home field. Juliana, has that brought your team closer together, having to travel and move and never, maybe not being in the same place twice all the time? What has that done for your team in terms of chemistry?
I think it definitely did bring us together a little bit because, all the younger girls, we carpool, we go to the practices together. Definitely created a stronger bond. And to know that we don't have a home field, it definitely feels good to, when we are the home team, to make it our field, if that makes sense.
Curt, how about for you? It's from an organizational standpoint. Has that added an extra layer or two for you?
I would say at least 2, 3, 4 layers. It's all about, obviously, again, you mentioned 6 practice sites. That obviously, changes throughout the course of when we started. We had to have an indoor facility for defense. We had to have an indoor facility for our hitting. We were able to use Pinnacle for 3 weeks, the factory in East Rochester for 3 weeks. And then we shifted to like an outside mentality because obviously the weather was changing. So we did the high school football field. Our indoor facility, our gym, is now a cafeteria. So we could basically lower our cage and use the cage, and we had a little area for pitchers. We went to Tennessee, so we used obviously the fields there for practice. So it's been all over. So the logistics of making sure I have what I need for that practice. So I have to haul it around for the most part. So yes, it's the times. Every day we have to understand when our bus is going to pick us up, what time the game is, because we have 4:30 games, 5 o'clock games, 7 o'clock games. So we're constantly throughout the day communicating, making sure everyone's on the same page, because I don't want somebody missing a bus departure. So yeah, it's more so a lot going on and more communication throughout the day. And fortunately, I have a great assistant coach in Corey Cianfrocco. She teaches at the high school. She runs our Google Classroom. So through that, we post a lot of things. And I use the captains to make sure if it's like I need it out quick, I send stuff to them and they'll communicate with the girls.
So even more reason, Steve, he's our G&G Fitness Coach of the Week with all those moving parts, for sure. Juliana, I want to take you back a couple of weeks. Your team lost 3 straight games. Now you lost to Schrader, Thomas, and Rush, 3 good teams. You lost 5-2, 6-2, and 4-1. I tend to think teams learn more from losses than wins. What were your takeaways from those games? And I guess, did they help this group at all kind of weather the storm and learn about adversity?
I think losing for us definitely impacts us very big. Sometimes we aren't always there to play, but eventually we reflect on it, and the want and the drive definitely was a turnaround. I think especially after our first loss to Penfield, I think that was a big turnaround for us going into Tennessee. But yeah, all you can do is get back up and try harder next time.
Yeah. Juliana, maybe just follow up on what this team's mindset is heading into sectionals, where it is basically a win or go home mentality.
Pretty much. I think we are going to be headstrong going into our first game. I'm not sure who we're playing yet, but I think we're ready for it. We prepare, we practice, and I think we're going to be ready to show up.
Last year was a crazy finish in the final against Schrader, 8-6.
Thanks for bringing that up, Jeff.
Well,
Appreciate that.
I'm trying to write the redemption story because I like your chances. You're the top seed. I know Rush got you. They got a young pitcher. They're the 3 seed. Victor, always good. 12-6 going into the postseason. The 2 seed. You swept Victor this year in 2 tough games, 7-6 and 10-6. You split with RH 3-1 and 4-1. And like you said, Penfield did get you once too. I like Fairport. Fairport baseball, softball is always sound. You do the right things. And beyond hearing about the attention to detail from Coach Johnson here, and I think it's your year. So we got you on now because I think it's your year. That doesn't mean I don't think Victor or Rush can do it, or Penfield or anyone else, but I like your chances. And you've had some really close losses in championship games. And in 3 of the 4 title games you've lost here in recent years, 2-0 in 2017 to Victor, 1-0 in 2019, and 8-6 last year. 2018 was a bit of an anomaly. They got you 11-2 in the Katie Sedera years. So Curt,
yeah, that was their state championship team, so they were loaded and they deserved being that they were that good all year. I mean, nobody competed all year with them, so it was a learning experience for all of us.
Have you had enough close games this year to satisfy you in regard to, if you're faced with a 1-run game in the Section 5 championship?
Yeah, I think when we went to Tennessee, we played 4 games, two pretty good teams, and then 2 very good teams. One team out of Ohio, we battled with them. We won in extra innings 4-3. They actually had 15 hits on the game. We threw 4 girls out at home, 2 from the outfield, 2 from the infield. Obviously, that preserved the win or helped get us the win. Then I had a parent, come up to me and say, "You're finally starting to learn how to win these games, these close 1-run games." And that's always something you like to hear, and that's something that's in the back of your mind. Can we win those close, tense-filled games at late games that are decided in the 7th, 8th inning? This one was decided. So we were on a streak. We didn't talk about our 9-game winning streak. And then we had a 3-game losing streak. But and we're not making excuses. And I told the girls at the beginning of the year, just because we're on the road for everything, that's not an excuse. I think we had a bit of a lull where we're just tired. We're tired of the buses. We're tired of a 7 o'clock game and then having to turn around and play a 4 o'clock game the very next day. And you can't get up for every game. And I tell them, it's hard. And no professional sports team gets up for every game. But, we have to refocus, like Juliana said. We had to finish out strong for that week. So we could be the number one seed. We won 2 on Friday against Hilton. Then we went to Syracuse and won 2 against Liverpool, or 1 against Liverpool and 1 against Janesville DeWitt. So that helped us, I think, going into sectionals. That we kind of didn't take those games off, but we weren't as focused. So I think that they understood that message, and that's why winning our last 4. Now we're on a winning streak again. Hopefully, we got a couple more in us.
Well, I wish you the best of luck. Hey, but before we go, though, I want to go around the horn. Give me some other names of you mentioned the outfield. And I know you gave me in the notes. Nicole Allen's a sophomore. She's not only hitting .339, but she got 12 RBIs, but she's 3 assists in the outfield. Go around the horn for me, Curt, and tell me who else, some of the other key players.
So the other key players we have at first base, Mandy Bry. She is a catcher by trade. I asked her to slide over to first base this year because I needed a first baseman. One of our first baseman from last year was one of those seniors who graduated. Juliana Catalano. She came up as an 8th grader along with Nicole. She is now starting at second base. I don't know if you know her father, John Catalano.
I do, and I know you had another Catalano that played second base for you too, right? Victoria.
Victoria, and then her sister Karina played first base.
Is this the end of the Catalano chain here?
It is. Okay. Fortunately or unfortunately, it is. Okay. John, so you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Third base right now is Michaela Strack. She is I'm trying to think. She's a sophomore. She came up last year as a freshman. So in outfield, left to right, will be Courtney Henniger, our left fielder, Nicole Allen, our center fielder, and Rachel McCoy is our right fielder. And as I said before, they are extremely good outfielders. But like you said, we work with them hard to understand what their jobs are on every single pitch. So.
All right. Well, all the media out there that watches this interview and wants to go talk to Fairport, whether you're print or electronic, you're welcome for all the wealth of information we just gave you. And I wish you the best of luck, Curt and Juliana and the Red Raiders on solving the decade-long jinx here and getting it done. I know it helps that Schrader's down in A. That's not a mystery, and no disrespect to anybody, but it helps that they're not there. And I think you got to win 2 games to win sectionals. So wish you the best of luck. All right.
All right. Yeah. Thank you, Jeff and Steve. We appreciate everything you've done. I've known you for a long time, Jeff. Decades, and you've been a promoting high school sports for a long time, and again, I appreciate it, and I'm sure everyone in this area does as well. So again, thank you.
We love them, Steve, don't we?
Yeah, no, it's fun. It keeps us going, and there's great stories every year, and that's the fun part of this, is meeting new people, telling their stories, and just shining a positive light on some of the good things that are going on in Section 5.
The Road Warriors from Fairport, right here on the Connors and Ferris High School Sports Show. Thanks for watching us right here on YouTube on Rock Sports Now.